morning, everyone, and welcome to the Content Collective Meetup. My name is Ruben. I am one of the founding members of the Content Collective. Before we start the session, we usually do a small introduction of the Content Collective, just so that everybody who has not heard of it or who has not read about it will get to know a little bit more. So a couple of years back, we were all in the middle of the pandemic, right? And I was looking for a space for to learn more about content, to interact a little bit more about what other content formats exist. I also got a lot of calls from people who I know asking, how do I get to know about radio jockeying, or how do I get to know about instructional design and things like that. So I looked around and saw that while there is a lot of learning out there, there's very little space specifically for content creators to sort of interact and share. And because we were all in our shells, so to speak, in our homes, there wasn't any forum available specifically for content. There are many forums for design, there are many forums for marketing and other things like that, but specifically for content, there are very few forums. In fact, I would say in India, none. And I thought that let me try and start something where we can get people to share and really try and interact with real connections and learn from each other and figure out how to grow the community. Because if you look at content is everywhere, right? Yet the value of content creators has sort of reduced to some extent. And now with AI coming in, it's going to become even more difficult. So I felt that this is also a community that can sort of figure out a way to increase the value and grow this community to a much better stature than it currently holds in the market today. So that was these are some of the reasons why the Content Collective was started. And over the last year and a half, we've managed to get in a lot of interesting people to speak. And today we've got RJ Jimmy Xavier, and many of you know him from the morning show with Jimmy on 95 Radio Mirchi, which runs from Monday to Saturday. I don't, if you've heard his show, there's not much that I can really say to introduce him, but he's been around or in the industry for about 2 decades now, and he's done a lot of roles at Radio Mirchi doing creative programming, client solutioning, and he's also been, at a managerial position, as he says, so as a zonal head of the South. He also, one thing you probably don't know, is also runs a very active theater company with his wife Anna Thomas. It's called Jugaad Company. They've done close to 900 stage shows and won several awards in the short theater format. Their current production is called The Day the Crayons Quit, and I would love to go and see this with my daughter. And it currently has done more than 50 shows across the country to packed houses. And perhaps Jimmy can share a little bit more about that as he speaks. But today we've got him to talk about content creation from an audio standpoint. How do you create visuals in people's minds? How do you get people to start thinking about something that is absolutely, maybe absolutely abstract, or something that may be absolutely real? How do you get them to think about it or visualize it without really having to show any visuals? So over to you, Jimmy. And I must say, he has actually made time on a Saturday, which he spends with his daughter. So I'm very, very grateful for him for making this time. Thank you, Jimmy. Over to you.
Thank you, Ruben. I was actually wondering whether I should put my video on at all, because this is primarily an audio medium. But then I said, hey, everybody's on video, so let me just show my face as well. Hi. Do you think I should start straight off, or should we wait for a little longer? Ruben?
I think we can start, Jimmy.
All
People
right,
will
cool.
be coming in so that we'll manage in the back end.
All right, fine. Okay. So I'm going to start with one of my favorite things to do every time I do a radio session. I'm audible to everybody? Yes? Awesome. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask for all of you to close your eyes. And I'm just going to say a bunch of things. And as I say them, I'd like you to just visualize them. All right? So please, everybody, close your eyes. This is not going to take more than a minute. You're in your house. You go to the kitchen, pick yourself your favorite beverage, and the book that you're currently reading, go to your room, to your corner, one cozy little corner that you have in your room, and you sit down over there. The windows are open, there's a light breeze, your curtains are fluttering in the breeze gently. Uh, you're reading your book, sipping your beverage, when suddenly an alien spaceship lands in your balcony. Uh, you think, alien, good fun, we'll have a conversation, we'll communicate. And then you realize that actually this alien wants to take you away to their planet. And you try to scream for help, but you can't because the alien has paralyzed your vocal cords. So you call for every reserve of energy within your body and almost like mentally scream to your superhero to come and save you. And just before the alien puts you into your spaceship, into their spaceship, your superhero comes there, destroys the alien, puts you back in your cozy corner, and leaves. All right. That was my story. I'd like everybody to unmute for a moment while I ask you a bunch of things. Let's start with Devanshi. Devanshi, what was the beverage that you drank?
I was having my lemon tea.
Okay. Hanil,
Yeah, I was having my morning chai.
okay. Neha,
Black tea that I'm having right now.
all right. Black tea. Awesome. Okay. Ruben, what was the color of your curtains?
They are the current color, which is blue.
Okay. Padma, what were the color of your curtains? Okay. Padma, Shweta, what were the color of your curtains?
Beige.
Beige. Okay. Devanshi, what was the color of your curtains?
Beige.
Okay. Nishita, Nishita, what book were you reading?
I was reading The Alchemist.
Bhumika, what book were you reading?
I was reading the book that I'm currently reading, Body Keeps the Score.
Okay. Padma, what did your alien look like?
Typically green. Sorry about the lack of imagination
Arey,
there.
no, please. Nitin, what did your alien look like?
Something humanoid is what I thought of.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Varsha, what did your alien look like?
More like Jadoo.
Right. Anjana, which superhero did you call out to? Anjana, are you there? Okay, you don't have audio. Okay, Nishita, what was the which superhero did you call out to?
Batman.
Partha, who did you call out to?
Iron Man.
I'm nice. Okay, all right. So you can mute everybody. So you saw what happened over there. It was one set of instructions to everybody, but everybody had their own version of the story. Your curtains were different. The book you were reading was different. The place that the alien was different. Your superhero was different. And this is what has drawn me to this medium and kept me here for such a long time, because this for me is the theater of the mind. And what it does is it makes the medium that I'm part of, which is radio, a very personal medium. So when I'm on air, I'm not an MC. It's not like I'm on stage and I'm talking to 30,000 people. When I turn the mic on, I am talking to one person. So I will always refer to you as you. When you are driving, when you ate this, when you went there. I don't say when all of you went, when all of you are driving, because that's the nature of this medium. It's so personal. And the only other medium that allows you theater of the mind is print, right? I'm sure you've read a book, then you've gone and watched the movie, and then you said, nah, the movie wasn't as good as the book, man. And the reason that happens is because you have imagined the story while reading the book. You have interpreted the words, the images based on your personal experiences. And then when you go watch the movie, it's the director's vision of the book, which doesn't really match up to your imagination. Which is why if you read the book and then you go watch the movie, very often you'll say, damn it, man, that the book was better. Yeah. Okay. I'm just going to do a little more creative work. So, Bhumika, can you play Creative 1A? Play that again, please. Okay, I'm just going to quickly go around. Narendra, you've just joined the call. Narendra, what do you think that sound was? Narendra Kumar, you can unmute yourself and tell us what you thought the sound was. Okay, let's move.
Yeah.
Yes. Narendra, go.
What I heard,
Yeah.
either somebody is axing a wood or something,
Okay.
somebody is running,
Nice.
or somebody is panting.
All right.
Either of these things.
Okay, Neha, what did you think that was?
I visualized a middle-aged man doing his laps and currently just warming up for another game. Yes.
Okay, Manish, what did you think that was? Manish Joshi. All right, Nitin Nair.
Yeah, to me it sounded like someone panting.
Okay, Bhumika, can you now play audio 1B?
A man running down the street. A man making love to his wife. A man who's just bitten into a chili. A man checking to see if he has bad breath. It's not a man, it's a dog dreaming it's a man running down the street biting into a chili after making love to his wife, who has bad breath.
Advertise with pictures. Use radio.
Yes, so very often people say, but there is no visual. There is actually. In fact, the visuals that you can create on radio is far stronger than what you can create on television. And I'll give you an example. Imagine, so I don't know whether all of you are from Bangalore, but if you're from different parts of the country, imagine a lake that that is in your town/city, and you want to empty the lake and you want to make the biggest ice cream in that lake, right? So you empty the lake of water, you put in your cream, you get a helicopter and use the rotor blades of the helicopter to whip up the cream. And then from the helicopter, you drop tons of cherries onto this ice cream to make this lake wala ice cream. Now, if you had to do this using video, of course, you can do it using animation as well. But the amount of money and time that you have to spend into creating this is time and money is far more than what you would need to do with just audio, right? Because audio is just giving you the cues and you're visualizing everything, which is why, again, like I said, this medium is so beautiful to me. Bhumika, can you play creatives 3, 4, and 5, please? Okay, so these are a few radio creatives. The one that I'm going to play, 2, 3, 4, sorry. The one that I'm going to play you at number 2 is, the accent is a bit difficult to get. So I'm just going to set the context for you. He's asking you to imagine that every color had a sound. Okay, so that's what the creative is. Bhumika, whenever you're ready, play 2 followed by 3 and then 4.
To prove to you just how clear and vibrant Colour Gold's colours are, I'm going to conduct a little exercise. Imagine for a moment that you can actually hear colour. Now, you'll have to concentrate, mind. Right, this is the sound for blue. I said you'll have to concentrate. Thank you. And this is the sound for green. And now let's hear it for yellow. And finally, wait for it, lads, red. Right. I'm now showing you a photograph of a magnificent sunset over the Grand Canyon as taken on Colour Gold. And now I'm going to show you that very same sunset taken on ordinary film. Well, I suppose it has a certain raw charm.
Colour Gold. For a symphony of colour, we have the clicknology.
Okay, so that was an ad for Kodak Color Gold films. Now, 3 and 4 are very strong script-based creatives using sound as well. So we listen to 3, 4, and 5 back to back.
Some condoms can make you feel a little... There's a Durex condom that makes you feel positively... It's called Durex Comfort, with a shape specially designed to be even easier to put on and fit a man more comfortably, so it won't get in the way of... So next time you're having fun, enjoy sex in comfort. Durex Comfort. For more, join me at durex.co.uk.
Well, my lord, up until then it was an ordinary day, really. Far as I remember, my lord, I got up, same as usual, made the tea, woke the children, got dressed, got Fred out of bed, cooked Fred's breakfast, made his sandwiches, wrapped them up, said goodbye, fed the children, took them to school, washed the dishes, swept the floor, made the beds, fed the toucan, called the plumber, ran for the bus, collected cake, scrambled the eggs, made the toast, scoffed the lot, washed the dishes, baked a cake, collected Tom, dried the dishes, made the tea, played with the kids, fed the cat, made the supper, ran the bath, washed the dishes, bathed the kids, read him a story, got him to bed, dried the dishes, and then Fred and I sat down and put our feet up in front of the telly and poured ourselves a nice couple of bottles of Guinness. Oh, lovely it was, my lord. And Fred took a long drink of his Guinness and turned to me and said, "You don't know how lucky you are," he said, "not having to work." And that's when I shot him.
No, 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 no.
No. No. No.
Johnny, Lego my hair. No. Johnny, Lego my hair. No. Johnny, Lego my hair. No.
Hi, Susie. Will you go out with me?
No.
Hi, Susie. Will you go out with me?
No.
Yeah, can I substitute fries for coleslaw?
No.
Can I substitute beans for coleslaw?
No.
Can I substitute rice for coleslaw?
No.
Hello, sir. Can I have a raise?
No.
Hello, sir. Can I have a raise?
No.
Sir, I beseech you. Can I have a raise?
No.
Seeing as how the average person hears over 200 no's every day, wouldn't it be nice to hear a yes now and then? We think so, which is why at Union Planters, our employees do everything in their power to find a way to say yes.
Is this car loan doable, Joan?
Yes.
Can you say that again, please?
Yes.
Thank you.
Union Planters, the best answer in banking. Equal opportunity lender, member FDIC.
So just in the the things that are available to you to make creatives, there is obviously the script. The script can be very you can have a very flowery script, so that allows for visuals. You can support it with production elements, and of course the voice really helps in elevating the script into a creative that works very well. Now, radio generally, from my experience, does 3 things very well, and they're the 3 E's of radio that we say. One is it empowers you, it educates you, and it entertains you. Entertain doesn't need any explanation. Education also doesn't need any explanation. How does it empower you? It gives you information that helps you make decisions that are relevant to you at that point of time in your city. So, for example, if the police commissioner of the city has suddenly said that there is a problem and section 144 has been imposed, I'm able to get the police commissioner on air immediately, talk to him, and he gives that information out on air. If there's a strike that's being called, I can give you information saying the strike has been called, but in these places petrol bunks are open, so if you want to fill gas, go there right now. Traffic updates help a lot. So we get traffic updates from the traffic management center very often, almost every day, every hour, saying, okay, this bus has broken down over here. There's slow moving traffic in this area. We'll move this bus soon. There's a truck that's broken down over here. You know, that's the kind of information that I'm able to give the city in real time without any spill. No other medium can actually do that today. From being really live and relevant to the city. So, for example, this happened, I think, about a month ago. Someone was traveling on a road and saw a kite, the bird, stuck on electric wires, the electric wires. So he immediately messaged me and said, hey, is there a number that I can call? I dug up the number, I gave it to him. He called them, they came and rescued the bird. And 2 days later, he messaged me again saying, thank you. The bird was rescued, they rehabilitated it, and now they've let it free. This is the only medium that can do that. No other medium can do that because there's too much spill. Like if you look at internet, if you look at television, if you look at what are your live media currently, you can go live on social media, but then the spill that is there is so large that it becomes irrelevant to a large number of people who might be consuming the content at that point of time. Radio is the only medium that allows for content that is so hyper local. Now, when I'm on air, how do I choose my content? The content is everywhere, right? There is no dearth of content nowadays, and not even dearth of content. With the apps that you have, people are constantly pushing content to you. So if you've not disabled your notifications, as soon as something happens, it will be on X, Twitter, it'll be on Insta, it'll be on stories, it'll be on your news apps, and you will keep getting these notifications. So it's not like you don't have access to the content. You do. For me, when I look at content, there is obviously the content that you are consuming, which you have access to. So that I also have access to that same content. Plus the kind of content that I have access to may not necessarily, like for example, something that I notice on the way to work, right? Something in the city, something on the streets. Now, this is content that's exclusive to me. And for me, that is my richest kind of content. So a red chair in the middle of the road or on the side of the road suddenly is content for me. The fact that during this season, the entire city is lit up is content for me. I saw a man walking 5 dogs at one point. 3 were black, 2 were white. That's content for me. And for me, that looked like a carom board actually, because he was in the middle and he had 5 dogs around him, 3 black, 2 whites. Right now, the richness of this content is very high because this is content that I am seeing you don't have access to. And when I describe it to you, you're visualizing it, you have your experience of it. And so I look for a lot of this kind of content to deliver on the show. How do I choose my content? I have a very clear agenda when I get on air. There are people who are going someplace in the morning, very often in really bad traffic, bad roads, and left to yourself, you'd probably be in a very bad mood by the time you reached wherever you wanted to get to. My agenda is very clear. I'm going to try and distract you from that. I'm going to try and put a smile on your face so that when you get to wherever you've gotten to, you're in a decent enough mood to be productive. You're not taking time to unwind, like get into the rhythm, right? So I choose content accordingly. If there is I choose content that will allow me to do things with it. So I will not talk about a train crash if it has happened. You have access to it. I'm not going to add any value to you by talking about it because I have nothing more to add to it. However, if there is if there's flooding in the city, now that's something that I can talk about, that I can joke about, right? Because you're part of it, and when I joke about it, you're able to see, okay, there's a funny side to it as well, even though we might be getting really screwed, right? So that's the kind of content that I choose. I choose content that I can do something with to make you smile. Now, at any point of time, there are two types of listeners. There is a listener who has already accessed the content, and someone who's probably not accessed the content. For someone who hasn't accessed the content, just by telling them that this happened, I've added value to their lives. But to the person who's already accessed the content, they'll be like, okay, I knew this, so what? That's where the RJ personality is layered on top of the content. That's where I come in with my point of view. That's where I come in with my take on it. For example, this is one thing that stands out in my head, so I'm going to say this. There was I think the Rajasthan education minister, and he said at some point that cows breathe in and breathe out oxygen. And I was aghast. This is the education minister, and he's saying something like this. Now, maybe someone has already read that piece of content. If you haven't, just by me telling you that, you will also hopefully be aghast. Now, if you've already accessed that piece of content, I need to layer it with something which is my point of view or my take on that piece of content. What I said was, I'd like to send the minister deep sea diving with a cow on his back as his oxygen cylinder. And then we'll see how that pans out. Now, that visual that I have created with this set of words is funny. You will listen to it and you will hopefully smile. And that's my job, right? And I think I've done a decent job of it, because one of the other reasons that I love being on this medium is that I get to talk to people regularly. So I'll put something out, I'll put a topic of discussion, I'll put a question out, someone will call, someone will message me, I'll call them back. And it amazes me every time that any person I talk to or I call, there is almost like, hey, Jimmy, it's almost like we've been long lost friends. And that's when I was, there is this sense of camaraderie already. I have never met them in my life. They've never met me in their life. But it's almost like, hey, I know you, man. Why do they know me? They know me because during my show, I'm constantly dropping personal information about myself as well. So they'll know about my dog, they'll know about my daughter, they'll know about my wife, they'll know about theater that I'm doing, they'll know about something crazy that happened to me yesterday. I keep dropping these things. So there is a sense of, oh, I know this guy. And when they talk to me, there is this, I know you. And it amazes me every time, that warmth that I get from that, I'll take out that I'm doing a decent job when I'm on air. So when someone wants to be an RJ, the first question they ask me, do I need to have a great voice? My take would be, a good voice helps. But if you don't have personality, then that's not going to help. So if you don't have this great booming voice or this beautiful tinkly voice, but if you have personality, I will hire you over someone who has a great voice. Purely because this is a medium that has no video. The personality runs the show. I tune in for the personality that you bring to the show. And therefore, for me, that's far more important. Are you able to create visual images about yourself, about the things that you're saying, using your personality? So for me, that is far more important than just a good voice. Uh, across the world, we're actually a very nascent radio medium in India. Across the world, radio has been around for many years, like 60, 70 years and all. So in all of these places, they also have multiple formats. Also because it's easier to get radio licenses. In India, it's not that easy to get a radio license. So you have most radio stations in India, actually almost all radio stations in India are a music format. So they will play music and then it will be interspersed with talk, right? However, across the world, there are many formats. There's easy listening, which means that they probably play only instrumental music. There are only rock formats. There are radio stations that are devoted to only one artist. There are sports radio stations, talk radio stations, where there's only talk. There'll be like one or two songs, but it's mostly talk, right? So there are multiple of these formats across the world. In India, currently, every radio station is a music radio station because I feel like that's the format that currently works. A talk radio station may not work as well. However, if there are a lot more radio stations to choose from, then we can start being, right now there's only 7 or 8 radio stations in Bangalore. When you have 20 radio stations in Bangalore, then you will find the need to, we need to carve out niches and then work. Bhumika, can we go to creative? Okay, so these are some of the creatives, 6, 7, and 8. These are some of the creatives that we've done on our radio station. I'm going to play you the first one. This is in June, and we were doing a special on air called Back to School, where because it's June, everybody is going back to school. It was one nostalgia trip. So we did things like, the pranks that you played in school, the teachers that you had crushes on, the subjects that you loved, the kind of trouble that you got into, the excuses that you gave your teachers, did you get caught while doing exams, the games that you played during recess. And so it was a huge nostalgia trip for people. And what we did was we used the sounds of school to make a creative. If you listen very carefully, you'll see that there are elements of school, like writing on the blackboard, banging on the desk. These are the elements that we put together to make this creative. Can we play creative number 6, please, Bhumika?
Yeah, 1 second.
Good morning, ma'am.
Ma'am, can I go to Susu?
Section B is better than this class. Get out of the class.
Get out of the class.
Keep quiet or I'll throw you out of the class. Get out of the class.
Get out of the class.
Silence! Is this the fish market?
You remember all those familiar sounds from school? The chalk, the banging on the desk, the teachers scolding us. But do you remember the things that our teachers taught us? Huh? Join the ride with us on 95 Mirchi and take the Back to School Challenge.
Bro, let's burst the Lakshmi bomb in the school toilet tomorrow.
Okay. The next creative that I'm going to play for you is a monsoon jingle that we create. And now very often when you think of monsoon, you say, oh my God, it's so romantic, it's beautiful. And that's the general sense that you associate with monsoon. We wanted to break that a little bit. And we said, enough of this, romantic mush about monsoons. Let's talk about having some fun in the rain. So that's audio 7.
95. 95.
Oh my God, it is raining, let us do a dance. Swing out your arms and do the pose like Shah Rukh Khan. Get out, get wet, get naughty, you should take the chance. But if you get a cold, I'm sorry in advance. Rain, rain, won't you stay? Me and Mirchi want to play. Rain, rain, stay. Me and Mirchi want to play.
95 Mirchi, it's hot.
And I have to play you my show jingle. There's no reason, just because I want to. So please play Creative 8, Bhumika.
Twinkle, twinkle, radio star, bringing Bangalore to your car. He's that sunny morning guy, Jimmy. Jimmy da, Jimmy, vibing with the city. He is natty, natty, it's a morning party. Whatever you're doing, blast your mornings with Jimmy. Only on 95 Mirchi. It's hot. Jimmy da.
Also, I love biryani.
Okay da.
Okay. Now you remember I was talking to you about how you can use sounds to create magic on air, to create visuals on air. There was this one. So I think a couple of months ago, Bhumika, don't go away. The Play Creative 10. There was this. It was very bad weather in Bangalore. The wind speeds were very strong. And at that point, I did one little piece on air. So I'll just play that for you as well, Bhumika. 10, the last one.
Jimmy da, Jimmy.
Welcome to Khat Khat Masam. This is 95 Mirchi. I'm Mirchi Jimmy. June, July. These are the months when the winds are at the strongest in Bangalore. And it's called Khat Khat Masam because the winds are so strong that your windows, your doors start rattling inside the house. Okay. Today, the speeds are going to be insane according to the Met Department. About 55-60 kilometers per hour. The winds are going to be blowing across the city. And just for perspective, you drive in peak traffic at about 12-13 kilometers per hour. Just saying. But I think this is a great opportunity for you to recreate a scene from Bombay. Remember Arvind Swamy and Manisha Koirala, Mani Ratnam's movie, A.R. Rahman's music. It's a great opportunity for you to do that. All you need to do is go to Alsur Lake. Okay? Stand there. And the waves may not crash like this, but in the background, this music can play. Your Arvind Swamy, your hands are up, out, looking up into the sky. The water around you, the winds are blowing with the strength that it has. And Manisha Koirala in a blue dress is running towards you and you sing. Create that scene for yourself. Today the winds are strong. It is the right time.
Right. So that was about radio. I'm just going to quickly, because this is the content collective, and I don't want to limit only to radio. I'm just going to do a little bit about just general content on other media as well. It doesn't matter how good your content is. That's unfortunately the fact. It depends on how shareable it is and how obvious it is to comment on. Okay. Now you can have an amazing and useful piece of content, but if people don't relate to it, they don't know what to comment or who to share it with, what they'll gain from it, they won't, and that piece of content will die its slow death. Now, why do people engage with any kind of content? There are primarily 4 reasons. 1, it'll help someone else. 2, it articulates a strongly held belief that they have. 3, it signals something socially, meaning that I am also this kind of person. I am an entrepreneur. I'm a solopreneur. I think the way this person does. Right? So it signals something socially. And 4, it triggers an emotion or a moment of epiphany, like, oh my God, I did not know that. That is so amazing. Now, these are 4 reasons why people engage or share a post. And obviously, if you've been playing the content game for a while, you realize that the more people comment on your post, the more people save your post, the better it does on the algorithm. The more people share, obviously, more people get to see it. Now, these are primarily the 4 reasons that that people engage or share a post. I'm going to now, let's see. I'm mostly done. I'll just play you one last creative. because I think it's damn funny. And after that, I'll take questions. Can you play Creative 9, Bhumika?
Okay.
याद है जब पिंकेश छोटा सा था और अपने पहले सिंगिंग कंपटीशन में जब उसने फर्स्ट प्राइज जीता था, आप कितने खुश हुए थे। उसका मेडल सबको दिखा दिखा के बोली जा रहे थे कि आखिर बेटा किसका है, आखिर बेटा किसका है। तब से जब जब फैमिली पार्टी होती थी, गेट टुगेदर होता था, आप उसे तारा रारा गवाकर शुरू हो जाते थे, आखिर बेटा किसका है, आखिर बेटा किसका है। उसे माता के जगरातों में ले जाते थे, भजन गवाते थे और फिर माइक पे खुद ही आके कहते थे, आखिर बेटा किसका है, आखिर बेटा किसका है। हैंडीकैम लेके उसके गाने रिकॉर्ड करके फेसबुक पे अपलोड करते थे, कमेंट भी खुद ही पोस्ट कर देते थे, आखिर बेटा किसका है, आखिर बेटा किसका है। और फिर लिटिल स्टार के ऑडिशन में जब चुन्नू मलिक ने उसकी तारीफ की, आपने कैमरे पे आके नेशनल टीवी पे बोल दिया, आखिर बेटा किसका है। अब इतनी बार पूछा है आपने तो सोच रही हूँ बोल ही दूँ, पिंकेश ना आपका नहीं पंडित सरजू महाराज का बेटा है। वो दोपहर को मैं टाइम पास के लिए संगीत सीखती थी ना, तो उन्हीं का है। बहुत गिल्टी हो रहा था ना, इसलिए बता दिया। अब बुरा मत मानना, हाँ प्लीज।
कभी कभी पैरों तले जमीन खिसक जाती है, इसीलिए लगवाइए निटको एंटी स्किड टाइल्स।
It's such a random piece of content. I was like, I have to share this, and so that's all I have for you today. Now we will take questions. So Ruben, Bhumika, up to you guys to how you want to take this forward.
Yeah, cool. We have a question on the chat, so we'll start there while people are still settling down from the wonderful insights that you shared. So Hanil, I think he's already left the call, but he's asked us, what is the role of content overall in, I'm guessing he's talking about in a content strategy, and how do you use it more effectively in, say, an overall content strategy? I think that's what he was referring to. So, for example, you have a medium like radio, but if you don't have a medium like radio, how do I use it on, say, for example, social media or any other plan that I might?
So I think that, this on social media, many people have made it big, and they've blown out during the pandemic, especially. I haven't. I'm still struggling. I'm still trying to figure out how to do that. But in terms of a strategy, like I said, I shared those 4 pointers about how to create content. But primarily, I think that because this is a long game, you need to find something that you really like, that you think that you're good at, and then create content around that. That should be the base of your strategy, I think.
Okay, and I'm guessing it's the same for audio as well, to incorporate audio in your overall strategy.
So it depends on the medium, right? Now, if you're using a visual medium, very often the visuals take over everything. If you're creating pieces of content that are well produced, that have what they call therav, you're not basically rushing through your content, you're taking time to deliver a piece of content, then your pauses, the silences, the kind of music that you're using, then the audio plays a very important role. But the kind of content, so if you're looking at a long form video on YouTube, then yes, then audio plays a really important role. But if you're creating short format content, which is your shorts, your Instagram reels and stuff like that, I don't see extra audio playing too much of a role.
Okay, so I'll go ahead with my question first, and then I think we can open it out to everyone else. Is that for somebody who is so used to creating content on, say, in the written format or in the visual format, how do you transition to creating audio content from somebody who's been doing other forms to start doing audio?
Actually, the thing that you need to do is to know that your visual needs to be translated into an audio, which means that you need to give the cues. There are audio cues that you need to give in the script for people to visualize what you're talking about. right? Now, when you write a storyboard, like for example, the piece that I just played about the Alsur Lake and the winds and all of that, right? On the storyboard, you would have said person running in blue sari, he's standing there with his hands up in the air. Now, those are your visuals, right? When you script it, I think the visuals that you've written have to be translated into a script, into an audio format, and you give the right cues, either with voice or with effects.
Okay.
So you need to cue them in so people can visualize what you're saying.
Okay, interesting. So we'll open the floor now. If you have a question, do unmute and ask it. Absolutely no formality. Neha, do you have a question?
I was still trying to form the question in my head. So my question is, I write poems and I write short prose pieces. And I am very comfortable with hosting audio events, but that requires audience live, right? So how to proceed about sharing my content in audio format without having the audience at the moment? Meaning, are there some steps that I have to cover as covering your base before you go out?
So on what medium do you want to share this content?
LinkedIn.
Oh, I've never done LinkedIn, so I wouldn't know. But if I were to think off the top of my head, I don't know whether this will work. But if you're able to create these, so obviously your narration has to be, or like, do you do spoken word or you just write? You perform it as well?
I write mainly, and I have not evaluated it from the point of performance. So
Okay.
I recite it well, yes, but I haven't evaluated.
And you want to share this, and you want to share the poem. Doesn't necessarily have to be in the audio format. It's okay even if it's in the written format.
Yes, yes, yes.
Right. So I think a couple of things. If you're doing it in the audio format, then now there are three formats that you can explore here. One is the written format. So there is the poem itself, and you supplement it with a nice strong visual, and the visuals can probably change if the lines appear and they're not all there at one time. So that's one way to do it, right? So then you supplement each line with a visual, like a very like a high quality visual. So that's one way to do it. The second way to do it is to use audio. So you use audio and you layer it with music and support it with a visual. So there's no video, right? The third is the video format, where you perform it as a spoken word piece to camera. So these are three of the formats that you can explore in terms of sharing that content.
Thank you.
Okay, so I'll ask, while people are still warming up, let me ask another question, Jimmy. So you mentioned about, okay, see, I may not have a great voice, but if I don't have a personality, then how do I go about creating great audio content? Or how do I become an RJ or something like that?
So when you say
okay, let's say I don't have a personality. Let's say I have some personality.
It's basically you're saying, Macha, I can't kick a football, I can't head it, I can't do anything with the ball, but I want to become a footballer. So how do you do that? You then start training, right? Okay. You say, okay, this is a skill that I need to pick up. Like a personality is not inborn, right? It's something that you can develop. Right, and interesting audio, the quality of your voice can change. It's not like this is the only quality of your voice. It's again a skill that you can develop. So if you're really interested in doing this, then there are skills that you need to pick up to get to that place, and that's the effort that you'll have to put in.
Okay, so there are formal courses and stuff that are available for me to train, right?
There are no formal courses, unfortunately.
Okay.
So one good way to do this is in your city to look for theater artists, look for theater workshops, right? Because in theater workshops, generally they also do voice training, right? So you can find a bunch of exercise, or just go to a, not only theater, you can go to even a musician, to a singer, and say, okay, let's train my voice, see how I can get my voice to be more interesting. And it's a bunch of exercises that you do every day to increase the power, the strength of your voice.
Okay. We have a question in the chat from Shweta. She's asking the process of becoming an RJ. I think very similar to what I have asked, but maybe if you can share your journey.
I'll tell you what you need. Okay. Firstly, you need to be aware of what's happening in the world around you. Most importantly. Secondly, you need to be able to take content and treat it. What I mean by treating it is, I gave you a couple of examples also, right? Saying that if this is your piece of content, what are you layering on top of it? So you have to be able to take a piece of content and say, okay, these are 5 different ways that I can treat it. Right now, I'll give you an example of this rapper. Now you can say, I ate a salad. Okay. Or you can say, मैं घास फूस चबाता हूं. Now, which is the funner way to say this? Right? The funner way to say this is, मैं घास फूस चबाता हूं. So you have to be able to take pieces of content and then say, I'm going to treat this like this, so that when people listen to it, they are entertained. That's the work that's the most important work that you need to do.
Okay.
I have a question. I mean, this. So, do you think radio can compete with podcasts and other forms of digital audio medium, or is radio already winning the race? Like, how is what is your perspective on that?
Okay, so I'd like to say that radio's won the race, but the thing with radio is, like I said, it's a medium that allows you live, immediate content. That's the biggest strength of radio. A podcaster cannot do that, right? No other medium can do that. In fact, if someone says, hey, there's an accident over here, how can I do something? And I can immediately reach out to the police. I can reach out to the to the municipality and say, okay, hey, this one's happening over there, can you go help? I can send an ambulance. I can do a bunch of things because I'm live on air at that point of time. Plus, how are podcasters getting money? I don't know. I still haven't figured out the revenue stream on podcasters. Apart from mentions, where you mention a product or mention a service and you get paid for it, I'm not seeing revenue streams on podcasts in the audio format. In the video format, of course, if you put that podcast out on YouTube, then you get YouTube revenue from there. But where is the revenue coming from?
But if you talk about,
we make money.
Fair point. But if you talk about listenership, do you think there's a significant shift or loss of, say, listening audience?
Yes, so it's interesting. There is. I'll tell you what happened. Okay, so if you go back a little bit, about 10-15 years ago, every mobile phone had the radio app in it, right? So there were many people listening to the radio on the mobile app on the move, wherever they were going. Over a period of time, the mobile manufacturers started phasing out the radio app, and as a result of which, listenership dropped. Now, most of the listenership is in cars, people driving cars in the city. Okay. Now that immediately defines a certain kind of audience, right? Who has access to it and is listening to it. And I'm expecting that to change because the government has come up with a regulation saying that all phone manufacturers have to put the radio app back in, because during a disaster, radio is free to air. You don't need electricity. It's the only medium that is accessible and available and will be able to give you updates that you need, the important updates that you need. So from that perspective, the government has said that the app needs to come back, and I'm hoping that with that we'll see again jump in listenership.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting you mentioned that, Jimmy, because I remember being stuck in the Bombay floods of 2008 or
Ruben, I think your audio is gone off.
Yeah, he really took that seriously, getting stuck in the floods.
I guess there's some network issue.
Hello, hello.
Jimmy, I
Yeah.
have a question by the time it comes back. See,
Okay.
I do blog regularly. I just wanted to evolve into a podcaster. You have any tips to transition or get into a good podcast? I do reasonably blog well.
Okay. So there are a couple of things. Actually, there are multiple things that when you say good podcaster, there are multiple things that define a good podcast, right? One is what is the genre that you've chosen, right? Is the genre exciting enough? Because there's just so much to choose from, right? So one is what is the genre? Two, what is the presentation like? In terms of because this is a podcast, there can be high production value in terms of audio. So are you spending on, or are you training yourself to be able to deliver high production value podcast because it's only audio, right? Then the third is so that's the production element. Three is how is the scripting done? Is the scripting strong, right? And I think the most important of all of this is how consistently can you put it up, right? Because in terms of a podcast, ideally you should be able to look at putting out a podcast every day for a year, and a minimum length of 10 minutes.
Okay.
Right now, if you're able to crack all of these together, then there is chance for the podcast to survive.
Okay. Thank you.
Ruben has lost network.
Yeah, I am back now.
Hey, hello. Welcome back. The floods.
Yes. Yeah, so I was telling you about the floods, and it was interesting because that was the only medium that was able to give the updates regularly and also keep people entertained. And the RJs were also stuck in the studio, so they had nothing better to do. But and a show that you would normally end at, say, 11 or 12 in the night went on till to the early hours of the morning, and which is what was needed, what the need of the hour as well. So I think radio is probably one of the most, currently the most effective medium in terms of disasters, and
that's correct.
And I think it's going to get stronger. I think as the internet evolves, I think the radio coverage and the way it's delivered is also going to get strong. And I feel that even podcasters are going to recognize this and probably start their own channel. So and this is just my take, that probably you were talking about these 20 channels, right? That are their radio channels. And I think you have in the US a lot of these hamsters, right? These smaller, I don't know if they classify as radio channels, but smaller, studios or people who are doing it out of their home. So do you have a take on that? On the evolution?
The thing is that in the US, the streaming rights in terms of music is very clear. Right, if you play my music for this much time, this is the amount you pay me as royalty. In India, those unfortunately only terrestrial rights have been created. The digital streaming rights is still very ad hoc currently. So any label can say, I want so much money for my music that you're playing. So unfortunately, it becomes, which is why even we as a channel, we are not streaming in India. However, on our app, we're not on the Mirchi Plus app, we're not streaming our radio stations. But in the US and in the Middle East, we're streaming the radio stations on the app.
Interesting, very interesting. Great. So, if there are there any further questions? If not, we can end the session. Yeah, I think that's it. Thank you so much, Jimmy. It was an awesome session. It was one of our most visited session on LinkedIn. Obviously, we had about 75 plus people who wanted to join it, and most attended session as well. So thank you so much. It was very interesting. We hope to talk more about different types of content formats, and happy to have you here. If anybody needs to get in touch with you, are they allowed to firstly, and where do they get in touch with you?
Firstly, follow me on Instagram. My handle is RJ Jimmy.
Please
follow me there. And yes, you can get in touch with me. So you can get in touch with me on Insta, message me over there, or my email ID is jx16@yahoo.com.
Yeah. Before we go, I also want to do a little bit of self-promotion. We have a new website that we've launched, and I wanted to just share it quickly here. So we've recently just put this quickly together. It gives you a little bit of an overview of what the Content Collective is. It has a little bit of the upcoming meetups and what is it that we do as a community. Would love for you to visit the site as well as check out some of the videos, because we had some really great sessions in the past as well. And also, just be there, share, talk about it. And that's, I feel, the only way and the best way to grow as a community. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining. We shall see you at the next meetup. And thank you once again. See you.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you,
Thanks.
Jimmy.
Thank you.
And good luck to India tomorrow. Bye.